All right, we are back. Episode 21 of the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. Yes, that's right, 21 episodes. My voice. Don't know what happened there. Sometimes you have these things where you're like, I don't know what happened to my voice. I don't know what happened there. Nobody should have to hear that ever again. Dexter, Henry, Bryan, Fonseca here.
Yes, sir.
What's up, man?
Yo, we haven't been here in a while.
It hasn't been that long.
If you guys know, we took last week off.
Yeah, because sometimes you need to. People need to know that sometimes you need breaks, mental health breaks. You're doing too much. We're all doing a lot here. Everybody that works on the show.
Yeah, I was about to say none of us take an actual break because
there's never really an actual break.
Because we're all working a lot, like just on a bunch of different projects. But
there's always some other stuff to do.
Yeah,
but we were working on a lot of stuff.
Today's been eventful.
Yes,
Deontay Wilder's press conference, Luis Ortiz. Let's talk about that fight for a little bit, real quick. Because
do you care?
Yeah.
I mean, I care to some degree. I don't know if I care. I don't know if I'm hyped. I'm watching. I'm definitely watching Saturday night. Am I hyped?
Do you think Wilder's gonna win?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. Because with Luis Ortiz, it's like, you know, the whole, even with the whole steroid thing in his past, and I feel like he's over that now, and they did the testing, and he's good. But I still felt like even before all that, he was the other best heavyweight in the world who had a chance to knock out Deontay Wilder. And I think Anthony Josh was right there, obviously.
I will be more hyped when I think what will happen is I think Wilder wins and I think Joshua fights Wilder.
Yeah.
I think that's what more people like myself are truly hyped about.
Yeah.
However, I was at, and you knew this, I was at in January, Showtime had an event.
Yes, sir.
Where they had their first 6 months of the year announcing all their boxing for the first half of the year for 2018. And I was at this big event.
Great cards.
And I was doing some work for ESPN International, and Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz both were on the media carpet where they spoke to the media. And what I'll say is both guys sounded very confident. And Ortiz did not lack any bit of confidence himself when asked about this matchup.
Right.
So he sounds like he's ready to go. Now, will he be ready to go? That's another thing.
Today at the press conference, it was great. You guys have to watch this video because I posted it, and it's the longest stare down I've seen where two guys are not really blinking or anything. Like one of the PR guys tried to separate them two, and he was like,
this is where we're at now.
They were
like,
just
the stare down was
they were just
hard.
still saying pause, but they were just there for a really long time, and then they started talking. They had to be separated at one point, and they were barking back and forth. Their crews were barking back and forth from across the room. It was great.
I mean,
I can't wait for Saturday.
Bryan covers more boxing than I do on a regular basis, but how much do you put into that? Because I look at that sometimes. I'm like, I get it. I think sometimes there are fighters who genuinely don't like each other as we get up to the fight. But the other times I'm like, yo, you're just trying to sell the fight.
Yeah, no, I agree. And with Deontay Wilder, he is intense before every fight. You know what I mean? Like he's out there, he's saying that he's doing what he should. He's out there, he's saying he's gonna win this and that. And Luis Ortiz was also giving it back, but this is also a legitimate fight that's perception-wise is close. So you could see, like, hey, they probably feel that also. It's not like the last Deontay Wilder fight.
Well, that was
where,
a joke.
like, yeah, they have animosity, but you're not taking it seriously because Deontay Wilder is going to walk through Bermane-Stiverne as he did, knocking him out in the first round after knocking him down 3 times.
No real boxing fan took that seriously. I think real boxing fans will take this seriously. And I think so it's good to hear you say that because in January, when I saw Luis Ortiz at this event and heard him speak, was directly there with him speaking, I said, okay, this man is bringing some energy.
Yes.
He was speaking with his chest.
Yes.
He wasn't coming out and being like, he seemed pretty confident. Now, there's one thing to talk. He's got to show it. I believe more in Wilder, but I don't think Ortiz is going to be a slouch here.
Me neither.
I
think it's going to be a tough fight for Wilder.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough. Luis Ortiz is a southpaw. He's deceptively fast.
Yep.
He's like 6'4", and he's thick. Pause, no homo. Dude. But
we gotta stop with the pauses, man.
That was not
necessary.
That was not necessary.
It's like,
I'm just checking the temperature of the room.
Now I'm comfortable with who I am, so I don't have to pause like that anymore.
But Luis Ortiz, he's a big dude. Good footwork for his size.
Yep.
Fast, strong, obviously. I mean, combined, I think their records are 67-0 with 62 knockouts, something like that. Yeah, that sounds right. Because Luis Ortiz 28-0, 24 knockouts, Wilder 39.
I expect it to be a good fight. I think it will be a good fight, and I think it's a good. It's kind of the first real fight of the year. I think the people are going to get really excited about.
Yeah, it's a slow start to the year.
You had the Errol Spence fight in January.
Yeah.
And so obviously that, and he's going to fight again.
They had June.
In June,
they had the Superfly card last week, which is very good. But I mean, it's HBO and.
Well, you know what? I remember texting you while at that Showtime event. I was texting you, and I was texting my boy Vic, and I was like, "Yo," and I think you made the point when you were like, "Yo, HBO's real whack right now.
Yo,
like, they don't have anything.
Top
ranks fights with ESPN are better.
Top Rank used to be with HBO, and then last year they got the deal where it's like Top Rank and Golden Boy. Now they're pretty much about Golden Boy, right? They're pretty much with ESPN exclusively. So it's like, what do you have left if you're HBO? You have K2 Promotions, so you have and you have Main Event, so you have like Sergey Kovalev, Triple G. That's it.
That's it.
And the flyweights and things.
I'm a Triple G fan, so obviously yes, I'm excited.
Yeah, that's when I'll watch HBO. But Brett Yormark made this point at the press conference. He was like, and nobody even knows that there's another fight in town. And what he's referring to is the Sergey Kovalev fight this Saturday that's coming up. That's at Madison Square Garden Theater.
Yep.
Or it might be at the Garden. I don't know.
I think it's at the theater.
But basically, and today when I was going, so after I left the press conference, I went to the Big Ten tournament. As I was going to walk inside the tournament, the HBO boxing truck is outside, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's right. You know what I mean?
Not gonna watch that. HBO has a lot of. They got to step their game up because they ain't looking good for them right now on the boxing side of things at all whatsoever. But, we'll see. There's excitement for these Showtime fights, and I think it's good because I was like, damn, their lineup for this first 6 months is pretty strong.
Yes.
It's pretty strong. Speaking of excitement, it's been an exciting month for fans of the Marvel Universe. And I spoke before on behalf of black people everywhere. I will speak on that. We were excited for Black Panther. I saw it shortly, I think 3 days after it opened, and it's killing it right now.
I thought you had tickets for the opening.
No, but I couldn't go because I ended up finding out I had something else to do for the opening night, and I had to sell back those tickets.
Gotta get money.
And then was able to get tickets to go see it. I didn't get to see it at the theater I wanted to, but still got to go see it. So good. I really loved the movie. I thought it was great. I don't know exactly where I rank it, but I think it's somewhere in the top 5 of Marvel movies, if not the top 3. It was very socially conscious.
Who's up there with it? I haven't seen Black Panther yet.
So I caught up on a lot of Marvel movies recently that I hadn't seen, and so for a long time, my Iron Man, the original Iron Man, was kind of up there for me. But I've seen Civil War and Winter Soldier, Captain America, and those are really up there for me. I think Winter Soldier is a really good movie. So is Civil War. And Civil War is basically an Avengers movie, but I think it's really, really damn good. And I'll even put this up there as far as superhero movies. There's actually another superhero movie that I recently watched. I've been getting to watch a lot of movies lately, which I haven't done. And Matt, our producer, will be happy because he's the first person to tell me about this movie. He was like, Dex, you got to see this movie. And I know we're jumping off a tangent here, but it was Logan. Logan is fantastic, man. I want to say that we don't talk a lot about movies on here, but Logan is fantastic. It is up there for me in terms of superhero movies. Like I'm putting this right up there with like The Dark Knight. I still have The Dark Knight higher, but it is right there. Fantastic storytelling. Nothing was cheesy. Great action, good characters. Even made you a little bit sad at the end. I was like, damn, like it got you a little emotional at the end. It's a really good movie, right, Matt? You told me about this before. It's a really good movie.
So the reason why this movie is so good is because it's rated R, which I believe most superhero movies have to be rated R. Deadpool was a great movie, rated R.
Yes, I love Deadpool too.
Deadpool was funny.
The thing is, though, in these comics, they replicate a level of violence that these characters have. And the thing is, Disney kind of pigeonholes a lot of these characters in the aspect that people can't be killed on screen, there can't be too much blood, there can't be this. So if Wolverine was acquired by Disney, it would be a totally different thing. Even the X-Men series, Logan wouldn't have half the stuff. Within the first 5 minutes of the movie, someone's head, arm, leg.
Might be first 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
First 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the movies, there's bodies flying everywhere. So that fact. But it's not even the level of violence why this movie is so good. It has layers. It has depth. It goes into so many adult situations. It has.
You're really into this.
No, but he's right. Everything he's saying is right.
Bro, I've seen this movie at least 7 times.
Oh, damn.
I'm not even joking. And I bought it on Blu-ray because I wanted to see the film noir version, which is in black and white. But
I gotta do that.
The adult, I'll let you borrow it. The adult themes in this movie are crazy because it deals with Professor X has Alzheimer's as he's getting older, and he's kind of a father to Wolverine. So it's kind of like that parent-child, relationship where my parent is now like I have to take care of him and stuff like that. And then Wolverine has this little girl who's kind of like his kid because the whole Weapon X program and stuff like that. So now he's a father while his father is deteriorating. So
don't give away too much in the movie. But
there's spoiler alert, guys.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It
might be too late for that.
I didn't spoil anything.
He didn't spoil any plot things, but he gave a genesis of.
I mean, you did say somebody's arm and leg and everything.
You're gonna see that immediately, so that's not ruining anything.
That's not a spoiler. That's just
that's not a spoiler.
You'd be chopping up some bad guys.
Wait. This movie dropped a while ago, right?
It was last January.
Yeah.
January 2017, I believe it dropped. So it took me that long to watch it, but I'm literally saying this, and I know we'll get back to Black Panther, but this was one of the best superhero films I've saw. And I do agree with Matt to some point that things are taken away when they aren't rated R. You don't get to see, and I'm not a big advocate for making things more violent, but you don't get to see the true, maybe raw emotions, or they won't be able to touch on certain subjects that they aren't able to in other movies that are Disney-fied, if you want to say that.
Disney-fied.
But I haven't seen Black Panther yet. Yeah, I haven't seen.
That's what we do on the podcast.
I haven't seen Black Panther yet, but Disney's social commentary, from what I've heard from you guys and reading online, they've touched upon a lot of things that are relevant within the world. So that kind of expands the boundaries of being Disney-fied by making a social commentary on race and stuff like that.
And the timing.
Also, the timing's huge.
I agree. I'm not sure Disney would have been able to do that if they hadn't allowed Ryan Coogler, who directed the movie,
definitely,
who's a tremendous director. Obviously, it's Fruitvale Station, Creed, some of his noteworthy movies that people may know, to allow somebody to do this. So I thought a lot of things in the movie spoke to a black experience, whether you're from the continent of Africa or you're from elsewhere, other parts of the diaspora. So I think a lot of people could see that. I thought that's something I liked about the movie. I like movies that have a message, and maybe that's kind of where me and Matt connect, where there are messages or deeper messages in there, and Black Panther gave that to me. So I think the people who hold Black Panther in a high regard are really going to like that. The people who don't, they don't value that as much, which is fine. They might not like it as much, but I do. So I really like that about Black Panther. I really like that it had these messages within the black community, or can make people who aren't from the black community aware of some issues socially, or think about things about how black people feel and their place in the world. So
that's what I always hope for.
Yeah, so if the movie did that, and I thought it accomplished that pretty well. In terms of just being an action movie and a superhero movie, great. Chadwick Boseman is great as T'Challa. I don't even think he really stole the show. Michael B. Jordan's role as Killmonger, I think he really stole the show. Really good scene with him, really good quote with him. I won't ruin that for anybody in his death, which is tremendous. Actually, there's a T-shirt I will eventually wear on this podcast that people will see with that quote. I'm going to have to buy that T-shirt. If you've seen the movie, you know what the quote is.
And I have not, so I don't know what
so I recommend anybody
But I
see
will
it.
At some point.
Yeah, so go see it. I mean, look, if you didn't see it by now and you're black, like your black card's probably getting revoked.
I'm chilling. I'm Puerto Rican.
You had to see it. Yeah, just like if there was a Puerto Rican superhero, which, hey, people, we need to get that done.
That's what we were saying. Like, somebody said, I saw this floating around online. It was like, there was this big thing about how,
or Hispanic superhero, I should say. It doesn't have to be necessarily
Puerto Rican. Closest thing we had was like Nacho Libre.
Yeah, you know what? I hope that the success of Black
Panther,
which
I think is Mexican.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. But I hope the success of Black Panther in some way allows other people of color to see themselves in superhero movies and other roles beyond. I hope that shows that, hey, because I think, hey, if there was a Latino superhero, I think that Latinos are going to come out, and I support that. I'm going to go see it too. I'm going to understand that excitement, which is why I didn't understand the people who were angry at black folks who were excited about Black Panther. Like, why are you excited about Black Panther? Why are you excited about that? It's just a superhero movie with black people. No. It's a lot more than that.
I mean, but the thing is, because y'all finally got one. You see what I'm saying?
It's about damn time.
Yeah. So it's like
white people get to see that all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why they're looking at it like, oh, no big deal. We get them all the time. But it's like, those like you guys have the superheroes, so y'all finally got one. That's basically what it is.
And I'll be happy when I see other people get their time too. I'll be just as happy for them.
I love what LeBron James said. Did you see this?
I didn't.
Where he was talking about how he looked up to, like, when he was younger, he looked up to a lot of like athletes and like rappers and things like that, because those were people that as a black kid that he could identify with.
Right.
And with Black Panther, it's like, now you have a black superhero, like you finally got one, which is great for him, like as a dad, because he has like children or whatever. Like that must be great
and
for.
And I understand people. It's a fictional hero, so there's only so far you're taking this. But I think the point more.
But it's like with him, he said
what that does for people of color to be in other different roles and other different kinds of movies beyond the superhero role.
Exactly, because when him growing up, right? All the superheroes like Superman, Batman, whatever, they're all white.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're going to look up to, instead of Batman, you're going to look up to Michael Jordan. You're going to look up to Jay-Z. You know what I mean? Like whoever the stars are in the black community. So
they're not seeing anybody that looks like you.
Just like if you're Puerto Rican, like if you're my age and you're younger, you're going to look up to Carlos Beltran and Carlos Delgado.
Delgado was my man.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Delgado was the man.
Mark Anthony for some people.
I was going to say Mark Anthony.
And if you're a woman, Jennifer Lopez.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
And those
Selena.
And the chick that made
Lumidi.
What was that song? Yeah, remember that? Yeah.
That song, I got tired of that song after a while.
One thing,
I Wikipedia'd her yesterday. Yeah. That's why.
One thing on that whole social commentary, I don't know if any of you have seen the video of the two young black kids in the movie theater. And you know how the kids, they look at the posters and they're pointing at them? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Did you guys see the video? And this is why
I missed this. I did not see this.
I'll show it to you guys after we're done. But the two kids were playing in the theater waiting, or before or after they've seen the movie, and the mother was videotaping them. They were just playing around, and they were pointing at the poster and saying, I'm that one, Ooh. Which is something that me, as being white, I was able to do that. But to me, it's awesome to see that other kids are being able to be like, I'm Black Panther, because I'm a kid. I could just go like, I'm Batman.
And
because
more
when
people
they're
need to acknowledge that what Matt just said. More people need to acknowledge that that's a truth and why that's important for everyone. To be able to do that.
For them to point to a superhero instead of like Kevin Durant or whatever the case may be.
Or be able to now expand past that. To be able to point to Bryan Fonseca, who's a video journalist, or Dexter Henry, because it matters that we are here as people of color doing this podcast and people can see us. Those things matter, and they always will matter. And I think what Matt says, and I didn't see that video, is extremely important to see that. So to the people out there who are hating on other people, those ridiculous folks, or why there isn't a White Panther, shut up. You guys are idiots. I'll say that.
And shout out to Rajon Rondo. I don't know if you saw that. He took like a bunch of kids to like a Black Panther screening.
Yeah, and I think
things like that. That's
people who took some underprivileged kids who might not be able to go see that movie because they can understand what it would mean to them. I think that's great. I'm glad there were people who were able to do that. Yeah. We're gonna break. When we come back,
bit of progress.
All progress is beautiful, as I like to say. When we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit about some big news in the affects the Me Too movement in the world of sports. Mark Cuban in the situation with the Dallas Mavericks, sexual harassment, everything that's going on there that was disgusting. A little hip hop, and it is Women's History Month, so we need to talk about some of the greatest women's athletes of all time. We'll talk about that when we come back on the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. What's up, listeners? You know sometimes how it can be hard just to get from point A to point B. Now, when I have to get anywhere and I don't want to deal with the hassle of public transportation, it ain't hard to tell how I get around. I always make sure to use the best car service app in the game. I'm talking about Lyft. Lyft offers rides in minutes. All you have to do is download the Lyft app, request a ride, and you will be on your way quickly. Lyft is all about happy riders and happy drivers. Take a ride with them and you'll see why 9 out of 10 rides end up with a 5-star rating. Lyft always has amazing offers for new customers, and I'm here to tell our listeners about a great offer today. Lyft is currently offering free ride credit to Ain't Hard to Tell listeners. If you are new to Lyft, then you are eligible, and getting your credit is easy. All you have to do is download the app and use the promo code AHTTPOD to unlock your free credit today. Ain't hard to tell who has the best car app service. So use the code today and ride out loud with Lyft. The best new sports web series is here. It's from Backpack Broadcasting, and it's called The Sports Walk. The Sports Walk is a series where diverse sports fans take a walk and share their views at the intersection of sports and society. The entire first season is now available on Backpack Broadcasting's YouTube channel and backpackbroadcasting.com. See what other sports fans have to say about a variety of issues in the world of sports. Watch all 13 episodes from season 1 and take The Sports Walk today. Welcome back to the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. Dexter, Henry, Bryan, Fonseca here, along with our great producers, Matthew Finiza and Matthew Panico.
Hello.
What's up, Matty P? Matty P. Let me tell you why I like
with
Matty
the
P
Dexter
today.
friendly shirt.
A Dexter friendly, yeah. I almost gave Matty P a hug when I saw him today because of this. Matty P is rocking Kristaps Porzingis shirt. We got to stay strong for our brother Kristaps KP.
Her brother.
That's our Knicks brother. Why you mad?
Why you not?
Okay, can't he have a Knicks brother? Damn. Anyway, Matty P is representing. He's staying strong as he's rehabilitating from his horrible injury. You're praying for him every day?
Every day.
Rocking the shirt, giving him the positive energy?
Where's your Gortat shirt?
With my Gortat. I don't have a Gortat shirt.
All right.
He's not repping for Gortat.
I have a Wall shirt. I don't have a Gortat shirt.
Oh, you do have a Wall shirt. I thought you were on Gortat's side in that whole thing.
I mean, I wasn't on anyone's side. I mean... Well, are you talking about the Twitter feud, or are you talking about...
Yes, you're talking about the Twitter feud.
I'm not on anyone's side. I think it's just stupid.
And he rocks the Wall shirt. So
and that's okay. You know what? I think more people...
need to just say when stuff is stupid.
Yes, more people just need to not take sides and just say, A, they don't know, or B, this is stupid.
Wait, guys. Matt, I kind of want to put you on blast. He's wearing John Wall socks.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, man.
Let me see.
Wait, John Wall socks?
I'm like,
John Wall socks with the... Now I take back everything I said.
Hold on.
You can't be rocking the John Wall socks.
He's wearing John Wall socks.
So they're like stance socks.
Hold on. Yeah.
See, that's right down my lane. Shout out to Stan, sponsor the podcast.
Yeah, hold on. All right, this can't zoom in, but those are John Wall socks, and I could testify to that. I saw I
don't like this.
We were in the middle.
Is he the F word?
I don't like it.
What do you mean?
The
What do you mean like
five letter?
I don't like the John Wall socks with the Knicks shirt.
Oh,
the
okay.
five-letter-
I see the disparity between there.
No.
Give me the mic.
I hate when people are like, I know you're going to say, oh, you're a fake Knicks fan.
No, I wasn't going to say that.
You're a fraud.
gonna
That's
say
what
that.
he's going to
What do you
say.
mean I'm a fraud?
That's what he's going to say.
That's probably what I was
How
going
am I
to
a
say.
fraud? What? I'm a Knicks and Wizards fan. This is America. I can do whatever I want, right?
Oh, now
Is
you
that-
put it. Now you put
is
it.
that-
Well,
here's
he
the
stood
thing.
up for his
Here's the
rights.
thing.
He's not going to do what I want.
Here's the thing. In America, you could do whatever you want.
Oh, I like... What?
Us?
I think all sports fans can do. I think all sports fans can do whatever they want.
I ain't talking about sports.
I once got. That's a whole nother discussion. We'll get into that one day about what constitutes a real fan, but we're not going to get into that.
Let's talk about the woman.
Enjoy your John Wall
Next
socks.
topic.
It's Women's History Month.
Yes, sir.
And before we get into how people have been treating women disgustingly for years, because a lot of people don't really give a damn about women, we are going to give a damn about women here on this podcast,
Which we have.
And it's Women's History Month, and we're hoping to have some great women's guests, some ladies that'll come on the program this month. So we are definitely excited about that. But it got us to thinking before.
And we've
the
had
podcast,
a few already.
We've had some great ones already, and we hope to continue that. And we're glad to have these women, especially in sports journalism or whatever they do, here to talk to us. But we got us talking to what is the state of women's athletics, right? Like you brought up the question about, has there been progress in women's athletics? We look from the 70s with Title IX and even today, and just the way women's athletics is viewed. A lot of times we talk about sports here, but we aren't necessarily talking about a lot of women's sports. And that's problematic in itself. And why aren't we doing that?
We had, I don't know if we did talk. We talked about this maybe off air, but the whole New York Liberty thing. And the reason why I bring this up is because, they're moving basically to the Westchester County Center where, not many people are going to see them play.
Right.
Like compared to what they were when they were at Madison Square Garden. And I think they're only going to play 2 games this year at Madison Square Garden. So I feel like that is, to me, that's sad, at least, because it's like, New York Liberty, we say what you want about the WNBA, but I think it's a great league, and I think the Liberty are a staple in New York sports. So to have them basically move almost upstate, which is, the first step to getting them out of here entirely, maybe. I hope not, but
I wonder how much of that comes down to people's interest in women's sports, right? And so it comes down to...
That's what I wanted to bring this to.
When we get to that, we're talking about, can you fill up the arena? That's what it always is when it comes to business, right, guys?
Yeah. Not even just women's sports, though, because, I was just at the Big Ten tournament at the Garden, right, and there's not that many people there at the Garden.
And it's it's an opening round game for a conference that doesn't have a stronghold here in this New York City area, right? Agreed. So that's a factor, too. But back to the women's thing, the WNBA... let's just call it what it is. A lot of men don't want to watch the WNBA, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of men think that it's a bad and they're wrong. It's not bad basketball. It's actually really good basketball.
It is.
You just can't have the expectation that, if it's not super athletic, it's a more below the rim game. I appreciate good basketball at the highest level on all forms.
Or they'll tell you that, they'll only watch if Skylar Diggins is playing, or you know what I mean, certain girls that look a certain way and things of that nature.
Right, which is so ridiculous because I know plenty. Now look, I know women who watch NBA, NFL, whatever, because they're looking for players that they think are attractive. Obviously, we're talking about heterosexual women that would do that in this case. Mm-hmm. Sure, but I don't think that's the only reason. They sometimes tend to like the sport. I'm not coming to the WNBA like, oh man, I only want to see women that I think are attractive.
Right.
I think the problem lies a lot with you if you have that sort of thinking going into the game. So I think that when you're watching, when you're looking at WNBA, I think what the league and maybe the Knicks and Liberty, MSG and Liberty in this situation is, look, attendance has been down at the Garden. The Westchester Arena is a more intimate arena in Westchester. It's right outside the city. Probably could be a little bit more accessible and family-friendly for people to get to. I don't know if it's more accessible for people in the city, but it's not far out. And I think it comes down to, hey, we have dates that are filled to have Liberty games, and we're not bringing as many people into the building. So let's open up those dates, and we can now have whatever concert or whatever else we're doing into the summer. It opens it up for more business, more money that can be made by MSG. I think it's sad because I think it would be dope for professional players who I actually know on the Liberty, like Shavonte Zellis, to be able to play on the Garden floor. That means something to those women.
And back to what we were saying before about superheroes, I mean, you're at the Garden and it makes it easier for those. They have Kids Day. You know what I mean? I've been there where they'll bring kids out of school or whatever, out of summer programs on a Wednesday at 11 a.m. Yep. And they'll fill up the arena. They'll be the loudest ones in the arena, and they get to see Tina Charles, Bria Hartley, Shavonte Zellis, Sugar Rogers. You know what I mean? And Epiphany Prince and girls that they can look up to and be like, hey, I could be that and I could play on the Garden
now
floor.
Are you able to get those
in New York?
Right. Now are you able to get, will those schools be willing to make that same trip on that day out to Westchester? And, for me, who still lives here in New York City, I've said I was going to make it a conscious effort, and I think it's important I speak about this on Women's History Month, that as a father of a daughter who will be 2 soon, to make sure I'm watching a good amount of women's sports for her, whether it's soccer, not so she just doesn't see me watching men all the time on TV. If she sees that I'm watching women, I'm interested in women's sports as I am, then it'll say to her, she doesn't say, oh, well, we only could watch the NBA. We could also watch the WNBA. We don't only watch Premier League soccer, but we watch, the NWSL. We're watching these things. That's important. It's important for women to be able to see those representations. If it's not as close for them to see, or they can't see women playing the big arena. I've taken my daughter away to a Knicks game, but if I can't take her to a Liberty game and she can't see it as often in MSG, it's important for her to be able to see women play at the world's most famous arena. Now, a lot of girls are not going to have the opportunity to see that as often, and I think it's a little sad.
So hopefully they figure it out. But back to celebrating Women's History Month, we spoke about how great the WNBA is, at least we think so. And
we've talked about that.
I remember the WNBA finals last year.
Fantastic games. Fantastic games.
Maya Moore, right? If you look at, because we were talking about greatest women's athletes, Maya Moore is somebody that comes to mind for me because I mentioned this last year. I was like, if you look at her resume, where she's gotten 4 WNBA titles, where she was all WNBA first team several times, you're putting her up there with with a lot of the best basketball players on the planet, male or female. You know what I mean? Man or woman. So Maya Moore is somebody, Candace Parker, like there are a lot of great players in that league, and there are a lot of just great athletes in general.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously for me, like, you know, probably my favorite woman athlete of all time is definitely Serena Williams. I mean, I've just really followed her career all the way through, her impact on tennis, just for the sport of women, somebody who played the game with a little bit more power than you had seen. I mean, women had progressed more with power in tennis. We saw Martina Navratilova, Steffi Graf before her.
Now you're showing off.
Huh?
None.
I'm not showing off. I know my sports. I like tennis. I know my mom was a fan of the sport. So that's another thing. Tennis is a sport where I always watch women excelling because I watched that with my mom.
I actually prefer women's tennis.
So do I. I think the women's game is actually better than the men's game, and it has been for quite some time.
And when I worked in the U.S. Open, those are the matchups that I look forward to.
Yeah. So see, Serena's impact for just women, and even more important, even just black women. In seeing that in two ways that she's really affected the sport. Again, I think her impact is why she's just one of the greatest.
Yeah, she's from Compton.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine
a black person playing you hard to find black people playing tennis in Compton, period.
Yeah.
More or less a black woman playing that.
And even and not even just and getting off women real quickly, if you're watching Tiger Woods, for example.
Yep.
And you're a little black kid, like in urban city or whatever, you're like, yo, I could play golf? What? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So these things are super impactful.
Especially in sports like that where it's so much about money and access, and people don't necessarily have those, you know, people in underserved communities don't necessarily have the access to go play golf or tennis. Seeing somebody that comes from a community like that, as Compton is, it's really dope.
Yeah, so support these leagues because they should be making a lot more money.
And support these women, and men need to do better and have your daughter watch sports where they can see themselves excel at the highest level, athletic levels. Because if it's one thing to just talk it, if you're not actually doing that and showing that to young women and young men, I don't want to say just all the young women, young men too. Have your sons also watch women excelling at the highest levels. Because if you're not doing that, then we're doing the same thing as before, which is bad. And we're just consistently saying, oh, watch the NBA, watch this. Let's talk more about these ladies who are excelling at the highest level athletically.
Right.
I think that's important. With that being said, there are men behaving badly and treating women horribly in the workplace, which is not shocking to anybody. But we have the situation came up. SI article last week talked about, I want to get the title of this right. It's called Dallas Mavericks Inside the Corrosive Workplace Culture. And this was written by John Wortham and Jessica Luther. Great job of journalism by both of these journalists for SI. They really exposed the sexual harassment and culture inside the Dallas Mavericks workplace. And for the cliff notes on this, it really all goes around the former team president and CEO, Taderma Usuri, who pretty much had created a culture of sexual harassment there. The claims, I don't want to ruin this. I tell anyone, if you can, Bryan, anybody else, read this article. It is an excellent job of journalism. They took their time. I
have read it.
They really, you did read it. So they really get into stuff here. I guess the first thing I ask you is, I know what my reaction was when I read this, but when you read this,
probably the same as yours.
What are you thinking when you read this article?
My first thing was like, because he says like he didn't know what was going on.
You're talking about Cuban, Mark Cuban right now.
Yeah. He says
Dallas Mavericks owner.
What was going on there, and immediately I started listening to like different shows to see what they're saying because it's like I don't know. So I wanted to see like as more information was coming out, like what's actually going on here. So with Mark Cuban saying, I didn't know this was going on, you kind of find that hard to believe. Like even though he's at the top of the company, and I heard some people playing devil's advocate, like, hey, maybe because he's on the basketball side and this was all going on the other business side, right?
Yeah.
So it's like maybe he doesn't know because he's disconnected from one entire side of the company. But I'm like,
still responsible for that, though.
He's
right?
still involved. Like he's not an owner who's like just away from the team. Like he's there all the time.
At least that's not the perception we have of him.
Right. Like he's there all the time.
He's very hands-on. That's the perception you have of.
So with me, it was just like, yo, you just got to do better. You alluded to this before. The writer, they finally got him out of there after like a week or so.
The writer that was not accused, also was arrested for domestic violence charges on another staff member of the Dallas Mavericks. She came in after she had a bruised eye or something, came in, reported to HR. He was arrested on the premises, but then was still working there. Now, it could be the HR people swept under the rug, never brought it up to Mark Cuban. That is possible.
That is possible.
And he did not know, and that's why I think you have to let the investigation and facts come out. However, I find it hard to believe, where I'm with you, Bryan, that he didn't know anything or had to be so disconnected at all. There still has to be some responsibility on Mark Cuban for that. And what's interesting is what struck me in this article, the day I read it, was that there were so many women. These women that worked for the Mavericks felt like they had no place to go. You have women who are telling other women, yo, you see that dude over there? Yo, don't get in the elevator with him. Don't be any place close with him. Don't sit at him in the board meeting because he might try to fill you up.
When you read the SI story and you look at the opening quote, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's crazy in itself.
And mind you, with men, like, we can say what we want. This really doesn't happen to us. Like 99.9% of the time. So it's like, you know, it's male privilege. It's something that you don't really have to like worry about. But if you're a woman, this is something that you're fearing for all the time. Like, you're going into a workplace and it's like,
walking down the street.
How am I going to be treated? How are they going to talk to me? Like, these are things that we don't even consider. Like, think about it. How often you drive? How often have you been scared going to your car at night, like going to get something?
Like maybe very few times.
You know what I mean?
Life,
maybe
right?
if you're in a certain area, sure. But if you're, 5'4" woman, no matter the age, and you're going to your car at night, you're constantly like looking around, clutching your purse, whatever the case may be. So it's like, these are things that we just don't have to worry about. And that's just going to
your car. Now you're in a workplace where you're supposed to do what you love or what you're trying to do or move in your career. And you don't even feel safe there.
Yeah.
Right? What I want to bring up before we go to break was, I read this and I heard that about the women having to tell other women, hey, stay away from this guy. And I had dinner with a friend last week who works in the industry of journalism. I will not mention where she works, but she mentioned to me how at her job, she's experienced that with somebody that was superior at her job. And women came to her when she first started working at this particular place and said the same things to her. And I was talking to her about how ridiculous that is, that's the best women felt that they could do. The best they could do is like, yo, we got to warn this other woman to not be alone with this man. And I'm going to say it again, men, we need to do a better job. Businesses need to do a better job of being there to protect women. Women shouldn't have to go to HR and think that HR isn't taking these things that happen to them as legit concerns and then doing something about it.
There are times where I'm like, yo, we're in 2018 and we're still here.
Yeah, we're still.
You know what I mean?
We're still here, and it's a reckoning. We got a lot of cleaning up to do, man.
Oh my God,
there's a lot of cleaning up to do. So,
and think about this: it used to be worse. It's still.
Oh, and I think there's a lot more to come.
Not to say that it's still not bad.
There's a lot more that still needs to be uncovered.
Right.
And there's a lot of people I know that are thinking about, man, things that he did in the past. They're hoping somebody doesn't say anything. But I support all the women in the Me Too movement, and I think there's more. And I think actually that this coming out through a sports forum and in a sports organization is even great, because sports hasn't been immune from this too. So people shouldn't think that. And I think that as it's become more open, it's a beautiful thing. And hopefully more women on Power 2 as we talk more through Women's History Month. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some stuff in hip hop. Albums coming out. Albums that just come out. One I haven't listened to that Bryan's listened to that he likes.
I keep listening to.
And he keeps telling me I need to listen to, but I'm not sure I want to. And then we have I'm not sure I want to. And then we have an interesting question that Bryan proposed for this podcast.
We'll tell him after.
Everybody's going to talk about, I guess, when we come back on the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast.
Sports Guru is the place where fans talk about sports via video. All videos are 60 seconds or shorter. Sports Guru makes the video look more professional and fun by adding automated on-screen graphics. You can follow your favorite sports by team, trending, new, or by people you follow, and more. Type in the title of your video and it will auto-magically go into your on-screen graphics. It's just that simple. Tag your teams and publish sports. Let's talk sports.
It ain't hard to tell where to get the latest merchandise from Backpack Broadcasting. Gear is now available via TeePublic. Visit the Backpack Broadcasting TeePublic online store to get shirts, hoodies, mugs, and phone cases. Represent your favorite Backpack Broadcasting shows, including the Sports Walk, Sideline Stories, and of course, the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. Check out the special offers for our podcast listeners at http://t.pub/lic/backpack. Get in the game with your official Backpack Broadcasting gear today. All right, welcome back to the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. Dexter, Bryan, Fonseca here. Episode 21. Thank you for joining us here. 21? We've been talking about a lot. What was that?
21.
You don't remember that? You don't remember that in the...
Dexter is not a Viner. He doesn't know things about
I never
Vine.
had Vine either.
No, I had Vine for like 2 seconds and I was over it. So
you had I never had Vine.
You know why? Because someone took the handle Dexter Henry for News 12 already.
I wouldn't have done that for Vine. That would not have been my Vine handle at all.
That would have been a great handle, Dex.
No, it would have been great for you to say 50 million times.
Vine had a decent run.
Did it?
It's coming back.
Instagram video killed it.
Instagram video is killing Snapchat right now.
It did.
So
Snapchat just up.
I told y'all I didn't need Snapchat. Look, they're killing Snapchat, and then Snapchat cannibalized itself with that update. I'm cool.
I don't mess with any of that Snapchat.
Dexter's like, what? Yeah. Snapchat?
No, come on. I know what Snapchat
besides,
is.
The DMs could be open on other apps. So
all right,
if y'all in that game.
Anyway, yes, off the Snapchatty, Viney stuff, whatever y'all talking about. 21. Whatever. You are hip hop. I'm last. No, I'm talking about you and hip hop. Getting so defensive, so angry.
That was funny.
Okay. Our last episode we had Brooklyn rapper Sky Zoo on, talking about his album. We thank you for coming on. Thank everybody who's watched the episode's doing great and listened to that episode. I haven't listened to a lot lately as far as new albums since Sky Zoo's album. I can't remember, but you have been listening to this new Nipsey Hussle album. Yes. Not crazy about his name as an artist, but if he puts out good music, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. You have been... I don't know what to say. It's called Victory Lap. Yes. You have been saying that you like the album. I don't know to what degree.
Nipsey Hussle, let me just get into it. Nipsey Hussle had a lot of, he had a big mixtape run, right? And he kind of gained his buzz because he was doing things differently. He had a mixtape that he sold 1,000 copies of for $100. Then the next edition was...
Somebody bought a mixtape for $100?
Hey, they sold? I mean, and then he had another mixtape where it was 100 copies for $1,000. You know what I mean? Like different ways of making money. But Nipsey Hussle really made a name, got respect on the business side of hip-hop as well. So his album, which is basically his debut album, highly anticipated because, you know, he's, 31, 32. He's been in the game for a while. I remember one of the first times I heard of him was on a Drake song named Killer or Killers, right? And I like that song. It was one of the only Drake songs I like. And then, what's it called?
Shots fired at Drake.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
I'm kind of kidding. I'm kind of kidding. But anyway.
No, you're not.
You're not bumping that God's Plan?
Song's all right. I mean, the video's cool.
Me? Okay.
The song's all right. I mean, I think the video's also, you know.
Did we talk about self-serving kind of in a way? What we think it could be? No, I talked to another friend about that. I'm not trying to ditch your Nipsey Hussle point.
Now, Dipsy Hussle is a hard name.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It reminds me of Dipsy Doodles.
Yeah, that's first. When I hear Dipsy, I think Dipsy Doodles, which are dope. Dipsy Doodles are dope.
Super salty. Very
super salty.
Yeah.
But Dipsy Doodles.
That's my childhood right there.
I'm not a big snacker, a big chip guy, or whatever you call Dipsy Doodles. But Dipsy Doodles. Yeah.
All right, back to Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah. Nipsey Hussle.
Nipsey Hussle.
We go from Dipsy Doodles. So basically, the album came out February 16th. It was
same day as Black Panther dropped.
Right. Yeah.
And I definitely would have saw Black Panther over listening to that. That's for sure.
So the album came out, and the first song, Victory Lap, was Stacey Berth, who did I Want to Know on Joe Budden's last album. Mm-hmm. That had me hooked. Like, I could not get past it for a while. And then I finally got to the rest of the album. Because, it sounds really good. Like, it just sounds so good.
I mean, that's an interesting statement. Now I'm like, okay.
It sounds really good. And then I also knew what the second song was because I heard the single. I can't repeat it. Rap N-words. You know what I'm saying? But that is a great song. It's a very ignorant track. I really love it. You played that for me. Yes.
It is ignorant.
I have. Production on the album, though, really good. Production is any
notable producers?
It's kind of old DJ Khalil.
Okay.
It's kind of
who I like. I like his production.
I think he did that beat. I think he did the song that I just mentioned. But what's it called? Very West Coasty production, old school meets new school type of thing going on. Last time that I checked, I caught D'Angelo Russell dancing to that during a Nets practice. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that, but who cares? Then, what's it called? That's with YG. And Diddy's on the album. He does the take that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm always here for that.
He does
Diddy
that.
ad-libs.
He does that on the fourth one. It's good.
Kendrick's on the album.
Kendrick has a verse.
Buddy's on this album. Marsha Ambrosia's on this album. CeeLo's on the album. Dream's on the album. Dom Kennedy.
Belly.
So it's 16 tracks. A lot of features. But yeah, I mean,
two of the songs are bonus tracks.
Okay, so it's 14-track album.
Yeah, technically.
So it ends with
the bonus songs are actually good. Like especially Right Hand to God, I really like. I mean, it's not like Sky Zoo's album in terms of like, you know, there's like we talked about it here with him. There are a lot of things that it's gonna take a while for you to catch, but once you catch, it's like, oh man, this is so good. It's not gonna make you think as hard, but man, this album can make you feel good, like if you listen to it at the right time.
I like music that makes me feel good at any time. I don't like feel good because I listen to it at 12:05 on a Monday morning.
That's the same argument.
No, but you could listen to it whenever.
No, I understand. I understand, but it's the same argument people have when they're like, "Yo, that Migos track, yo." But when you're in the club and you're bumping,
sucks. Like,
I agree though. Migos.
Like, I don't care about that.
Yeah, I hear you on that argument.
You know what I'm saying?
Good music.
Nipsey Hussle actually has some bars on this album. You
I'm not disagreeing with that.
I'm not saying he's out here like on some Kendrick Lamar, but
he's not a slouch rapper. But
not at all.
I heard him on. I think I told you. I watched his freestyle on.
He doesn't come off to me as like a freestyle rapper.
And it was like I was like, okay, I just wasn't moved. He didn't move me to be like, oh, I want to hear more from him. I just was like, okay.
He's not somebody. But I'm not. He's not a Breakfast Club. Wait, was it Breakfast Club?
No, it was Flex. It was on Flex.
He's not a Hot 97 freestyle rapper.
I also feel bad because he was a person that followed up Black Thought's freestyle. So it was like, it wasn't really good for you going after
you know what I mean? Because he's not that. Like, if I see Black Thought there, then it's like, all right, he has to go.
I mean, there's also people that have stepped up there and haven't brought it either. So he did a lot better than that. He wasn't whack. He wasn't whack by any means.
But it didn't make you go.
Yeah, it didn't make you be like, oh, I want to go listen to this album.
I shouldn't have said that before. Now, you could really listen to this album anytime, and you're good.
That's what I like
to hear. I'll wait to listen to it in like 2025.
You're so dismissive. Like,
Brian's
this podcast has told me how dismissive he is. Like, honestly.
I'm not dismissive.
Freddie Gibbs.
Yeah, there we go.
Nipsey Hussle.
We were waiting for that. We were waiting for that.
Yo, there's a bandana snippet drop. I'm letting you know right now. If that album comes out, it is a wrap for you guys.
Why?
Because I'm gonna be listen. I'll listen to it during the podcast and get us all flagged.
It's a rap for us. It's a rap for us because.
Why is that a rap for us?
Did you see the? Hold on. Did you see the Mad Lib video? The Mad Lib interview real quick.
You sent this to me.
Where somebody asked them. So why Freddie Gibbs? And he's just like, he's a dope rapper. That's it. And it was just like it's left it at that.
I'm not sure everybody universally agrees with that, but yeah.
Nah, dude's good at what he does. Just his voice doesn't do it for me.
I see, and I get that. And
we're not doing this again.
We're not doing it.
Back to Nipsey's album.
Look, the bottom line is it's not a rap for us when this album drops. It's not a rap for anybody.
No, it just gives us more fuel.
It's going to be a rap for you as far as time and concentrating on anything else. It's going to be a rap for that. Like, I'll agree with that.
Word.
But it ain't going to be a rap for anybody
Don't
else.
drop it till May, all right?
Because Bryan's going to need time to fully immerse himself in this album. And I get that because he's a fan. This is what we do when we're fans of stuff. Yo, somebody I like drops the album fully.
When Kendrick drops an album, it's the same thing for him as when Freddie drops an album for me.
We're gonna say Frederick Lamar?
No,
bro. What? It sounded like you were gonna say that.
His first name is actually Frederick, so I almost got away with that.
Okay.
But you called me out. So
anyway, all right. So Nipsey Hussle album.
But yeah, it's a solid album. To me, it's top 2 album of the year so far, along with Sky Zoo's project.
Oh please stop with the top 2 album of the years on March 1st.
Because I've only listened to like 3 albums this year.
I don't like. I hate when people are like, oh, it's the album of the year.
Those 2 and Black Panther.
We were recording this March 1st.
That's not true. I listened to Evidence's album. Also.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's too early. I don't want to hear this album.
And I listened to Migos.
I don't want to hear.
You have to know your enemy.
No. I don't want to hear any album of the year stuff till June. Possibly when you could actually legitimately make a claim. It's way too early.
But you know I'm not being serious. I hope not.
You never know. You got to watch it.
Please don't.
That is true.
You never know. One album I am
for a journalist, I take a lot of things lightly.
One album I am excited about.
A lot of y'all too damn serious.
We're recording this on March 1st, and Bryan texted me. It was the first text I saw in the morning, which happens a lot with Bryan. Yeah, Bryan always says something.
It happens a lot. It happens a
It
lot.
does, right?
I wake him up a lot.
Bryan has some. Like before I see any other alert on my phone, like a text from Bryan. Bryan's got some information to pass along. But Bryan had good information. It was good news, which is ironic because the title of this album is No News. It's Good News. That's the name of the album by Fonte.
Right.
I like Fonte, formerly of Little Brother.
I do send a lot of early informative texts because I wake up and go on my laptop right away.
I can tell it's the first thing you do. I can definitely tell that. I can tell it's the first thing you do.
After brushing my teeth.
We hope you do that too. We hope so.
I just need to get that out there.
So that I had been wondering about this album. I liked Fonte's first solo album, Charity Starts at Home.
Yeah.
Obviously,
I
like
had to
Fonte
remember
from when
because
he
it
was
came out so long
in Little Brother. I literally had just been speaking about this album with a friend. Charity Starts at Home recently. He hadn't listened to it. He listened to it this past weekend. Really liked the album. And then this album, No News is Good News, had been announced by Fonte back in 2016. Was supposed to drop September 2016, didn't drop. Supposed to drop early 2017, still didn't drop. Hadn't heard anything about this album.
Oh, sounds like Nas' album.
Yeah, sounds like that. Oddly enough, this is funny. Last year, I was at the Roots picnic. And you ever know with somebody, so you know somebody's there, but you don't recognize it? I'm waiting on this line to get food, and Fonte literally walked between me at the picnic. And it wasn't until like after he passed by me, like I turned and I was like, oh, that was Fonte. And I totally didn't say anything. I want to be like, yeah, if I had seen something like, yo, what's up with that new album? Like if I ever see Nas in some time frame now, if I ever meet Nas, I'm like, Nas.
Well, Nas is going to come here one day.
What's good?
Because
Yeah.
the name of the podcast, like
That
if he
would be
does,
dope.
Yeah, if he doesn't come here,
If
then,
Nas comes here before, even if Nas comes here after this album drops, I'm gonna ask him, yo, what took so long with the album?
Yeah.
Like I want to know.
and if
I
he
just
doesn't
wanna
come, and if he doesn't come on after a certain amount of time, we're changing the
Here,
name.
Nas, this is what you gotta do. Come on, when you're ready to release the podcast, come on. Hold on, let me switch. Come on the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast, and we will break the news of when you're releasing the album.
That's the best way to do it.
There we go, Nas.
That's how Nas should.
Not
do it.
everybody who listens to this at him.
Yeah, please, everyone.
At him to come onto the
At
Come
podcast.
on to the podcast.
That's
And
named
Nas-
after one of the greatest songs
Yeah.
ever.
Hit him
in
up on
hip-hop.
Twitter.
Yeah, you don't have to drop it on another DJ Khaled song. Nas's album is coming sooner again. You don't have
Oh
to do that.
yeah! Oh god!
Yeah.
You just reminded me. Khaled's dropping an album this year. I'm sure.
DJ
he is.
Khaled?
Oh, you should-
I'm sure he
yes.
is because he's
Joke,
gonna do it every
joke.
year. And then Nas gonna be like, "Yo, I know the last 2 years I said Nas album done, but yo, one more, all right?
Nah,
One
we don't.
more."
We don't want that. No,
And
we
then,
don't.
and then Travis Scott on the hook off beat.
Anyway, back to Fonte. So I'm excited about this album. No news about this album. Don't know anything about production. Don't know anything about track lists. Don't know anything of the features.
We assume Ninth Wonder.
I'm sure Ninth Wonder will be involved
Which
in,
is
it in
a
some
good
way.
thing.
He had his imprint on his first solo album.
Yes.
So I'm intrigued about that. Fonte is somebody I think that raps from a, at the first album he rapped a lot about life. His solo album a lot about life and things going on with family.
He's got something to say.
Just something to say. He always has something to say, and I think because we're kind of close in age, I can appreciate some of the things that he will talk about in life now. So
Damn. I wish I had
yeah.
dope rappers close to my age aside from Joey Badass and Vince Staples.
yeah, that's really sad for you. I feel bad for you. But
Yeah, we got. I'm not gonna.
yeah, don't talk about what y'all got.
Don't entertain.
You know, the ones you mentioned, they are speaking.
Yes.
On good
Those
topics.
are the
and
only two I
like
can
what
think of
they're
around
doing.
my age that got something to say.
That's it. See, but we always talk about people having something to say and why it's important. So we're short on time, so let's get to this real quick. Fonte album, definitely gonna listen to it. It drops March 2nd. That will be at midnight from when we're recording this. So I can't wait. We'll talk about that next podcast. What I think about it. Bryan brought up this question. He had asked me this question before. If you could have dinner with 4 people that have to be alive, they have to be alive. So you cannot have any dead people.
Just to
sitting at
make
your
it
table,
more
bring it
realistic.
back.
Because I would love to have Big
4
L at my
people,
table, but still.
We're going to toss it to our producers real quick. I don't know if they've had time to think about this. Maddie P, let's go with Maddie P first.
Hey,
Maddie
first
P,
in the
you should be
room.
saying KP for rocking that shirt. KP should be at the dinner table. Who are 4 people you would love to have dinner with to talk with?
I would like Shaq, Charles Barkley. Because
You
they
want the
probably-
entire inside the NBA crew?
Oh, no, that's like two, I mean, like,
Kenny the Jet and EJ?
no.
Is that
I
what you
mean-
want?
No, I mean,
No judgment. If that's who you want, that's fine. But I felt like that's where you were going.
I mean, if I have Shaq, it's not going to be a night without Charles Barkley because it would be hilarious.
Yo, that'd be pretty funny.
I know. That's the whole thing. Then Bryan Scalabrine.
Bryan Scalabrine.
Yeah, one of the greatest.
This is all NBA folks.
Yeah.
And your last one is?
Spider-Man.
Okay.
Which Spider-Man?
Which Spider-Man?
Yes.
Which Spider-Man?
Oh, any Spider-Man.
It doesn't any Spider-Man?
Yeah, anyone that played. Or it could just be the
Is
real
Spider-Man wearing his
Hey, if he wants
costume?
he can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he
I'm
gonna
okay
like
with
web
that.
sling like everything is delivered? Can he like web
are you
sling the
hating?
food
Are
to
you
the
hating
table?
on my love for Spider-Man?
No, I'm not hating on your love for
Alright,
Spider-Man. I'm not gonna do that. Okay.
You say I'm defensive.
All right. I'm gonna just so everybody knows what gets to mine, I will not say Black Panther. Black Panther will not be at the table with me, just so everybody
I'm
knows.
going last because, as we know, I'm indecisive. As we know
Yes,
from
you
the hip
are.
hop episode. And I still don't. I'm still. Yeah.
Yeah, he never can decide anything. He can barely decide much.
What did you have? Like a tie for second place or third place in the top albums?
A tie for second and a tie for fifth.
Yeah, that's stupid. That's just stupid. All right, thanks.
Oh man.
My four. Okay,
Carmelo.
two. There we go.
Come on.
Exactly.
Come on. Is everybody that predictable now?
No. Carmelo, John Stockton. My favorite director would be Wes Anderson because I think he's a creative genius, and I'd love to delve in his mind over some food. And the last one would have been anyone from the Rat Pack. So it would have been Sammy Davis, Dean, Sinatra. But since they're all gone, the only one from that era is Tony Bennett. And Tony Bennett's 89. And if anyone knows me, I listen to that music every single day. So I'd love to have Tony Bennett there. Just be the old man. I'd give him some espresso or something, and he could just sit there and like, oh, I'm Tony Bennett, and that's pretty much it. But like, I think it would be a dope. Yeah, I mean. See, it was people that had to be alive. It was people that were dead. I'd pick like great philosophical thinkers and stuff like that.
Yeah, but we don't. We want
realistic. So Carmelo, John Stockton, hit me up on Twitter. I follow both of y'all. Come over to my house for some dinner. I'll make some food for you.
That is the most desperate sounding jazz fan I've ever heard.
I'm in New York. They're not going to come here.
You never know.
Exactly. Hit me up on Twitter.
Listen, man. A lot of things come to New York that you don't expect. So. Like the Big Ten tournament.
Oh man,
why are you hating on the Big Ten tournament?
I'm not hating on it. I'm happy to be.
I'm
happy to be covering it. I'm just saying I didn't think it was coming here.
Bryan, can you please tweet out the picture you have on your credentials? I think it's great.
Oh God.
Oh yeah. Nobody wants to see that.
I think it's great. I honestly can just post it.
I'll do it after.
That might be the third funniest thing I saw today.
I'll do it after all the third.
Yeah. Let's do it. Wait.
Lucky we can't say the other two on air.
Yeah, we can't. We can't.
Pause.
We can't let you know.
Stop pauses.
My four people, I think it would be, I talked about this, it would be Barack Obama. Definitely would love to sit with him. Serena Williams, Jay-Z, and Ta-Nehisi Coates. Ta-Nehisi Coates, one of my current favorite writers right now, is very great about political commentary. So I just think he's dope currently at what he's doing. There's other people I was thinking about bringing in. But I'm not going to do like ties and all.
No, I'm not doing that for dinner.
Because I was thinking about like, I wanted to bring Ava DuVernay in too, but I was like, no. Jay-Z obviously.
He was like, no, why?
No, because I didn't want to do a tie, and I decided between like, I made a decision. Some of us can do that.
I made a decision too. I got my
finally, I hope so. Jay-Z obviously my favorite musical artist of all time, so definitely to talk to him. Barack Obama, obviously, just being the first black president, what he went through trying to become president after. I just love to think what he thinks about now and really hear what he thinks about Trump. Give me the real.
45.
45. Yeah, I forgot we don't say his name here. I think I'm going to bleep that out. Yeah, Serena, just because Serena, I think, is one of my favorite athletes. And I think not only is she one of the greatest women's athletes ever, I think she's one of the greatest athletes ever, period. And she doesn't get her due. Right. So I just would love to talk to her about her dominance. I like anybody that's dominated in the sport. She's dominant. So yeah, dinner with them. I don't know what we're eating, but they gotta have some. They gotta have some curry go on the menu.
I was gonna say jerk chicken. This gotta be jerk chicken.
I'm fine with that.
Can I come over too?
No.
I just want the jerk chicken.
No. How you gonna come over? You sound like a freeloader. No, absolutely not.
Bro, I'll bring you some red stripe.
No, that's not gonna sway me over.
Right,
nice try.
Whatever.
No.
I'll bring some Sibbles.
No.
I'll buy my own Sibbles then.
Yeah, he's trying. He's trying to come at things that I love. It's not working though.
Yo.
It'll
All
work.
right, who's your 4, Brian? Before we get out of here,
Let me give you a few people that didn't quite.
No.
Real quick. Here we go.
Give you a few people who didn't quite. What's the problem?
Yo, you know what we need for Brian? Does anybody remember the Wrap It Up box from the old Chappelle?
Yeah.
I mentioned one person. I said I would have thought about
By
Ava
a few,
DuVernay.
I literally mean a few, like
Okay.
2 or 3.
Yo, with a few, we know where that can go with you.
No.
We
What
know
the hell
where
is that
can go.
supposed to mean?
It means you can go off to many different places.
He's like, all right, so for the 5th seed, I had an 8-way tie. It's like, no, Brian.
Yes,
Just
Brian.
name
who
a
are
I was
your
gonna
4?
I was gonna put Felix Trinidad on, but
Okay.
I'm not sure how that would go. I was gonna put Roy Jones Jr. on, but I'm not sure how that would go either. So
What,
my
like you
4.
scared he gonna knock you out for saying the wrong thing?
Nah,
Like,
because I wanted to put one of my favorite fighters in of all time, but I feel like I'd want to hear from these 4 people more. But this is a very diverse group, so I'm gonna start off with Trish Stratus.
Okay.
We have a woman athlete. I would like to know how just coming up as a woman in that industry, going from where she was as a valet to where she became, and just empowering women like we have been. It's kind of been the theme of this show today.
It has.
You know, and things of
Empowerment
that
for
nature.
women.
Yeah, and she was one of my favorites growing up in like athletics in general. So we have her. We have Stephen A. Smith. I don't know if I need to explain that one. You know what I mean?
Stephen A. will be a good dinner guest. I'll definitely say that.
You know what I mean? Like, we have Stephen A. Smith. We're definitely going to have Nas, which, you know, to no one's surprise. For the same reasons you have Jay-Z, I would have Nas.
Yep.
But Jay-Z would also be welcome at the table. And we have Dan Le Batard. Dan Le Batard is the other person.
Dope.
Especially as, like, so, you know, especially as a Hispanic.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, he's one of the prominent journalists ever, like, in sports.
Absolutely.
But as, you know, being a Hispanic, growing up, like, around sports and just, like, getting involved at a really early age, like, you know, in college, like the way I did, except he was at the University of Miami, which is different from where I was at the time, St. Francis College as a student.
Very
but,
different.
You know, there are a lot of things that I feel like I could learn from each of them.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I think that's
I feel like that would be a great group.
That's what everybody said. They would learn all these things that are different. I was shocked that your last one. I think we all thought it was going someplace else.
FG.
It didn't go there.
Freddie
we are
Gibbs.
happy, we are happy it didn't go there because it would have been a wrap for all of us. It'd be like, this dinner is a wrap for all of y'all.
Nah, but if I have a hip hop dinner table,
What are you serving?
oh man, I don't know.
Wait, you're serving?
Whatever
No,
they
what
want.
do you-
Oh, I was like, I'm kidding.
I'm treating them all to whatever they want.
All right.
Okay.
That's
All
what's
right,
up.
Bowling.
I'll do it like that.
All right. Well,
On that note,
hey,
take note.
you guys can let us know in the comments. Let us know who you would have dinner
Please,
with. Who
word.
your
Oh
four
yeah,
people
yeah.
would
That's
be.
yeah.
Let's know
I'm
who you
dropping
would
that
have dinner with.
comment.
I hope that somebody says me. Like y'all could say me. Like that would be cool.
What about
You can
the
say
whole-
us four.
Just take us four.
Take us
yeah,
four.
take us four. We'll definitely come over for some dinner.
Definitely.
We'll shoot.
I mean,
We'll shoot a podcast in your dining room. How
we'll
about that?
Yo, but what if the food is whack though and you can't leave? Remember the Thanksgiving thing where we didn't
That's
know how
right,
you do it?
that's right.
Yeah, you got.
Oh, that's right.
That's
We
right.
did
Your
talk
food's
about
gotta be
that.
on point.
But that would be
Yeah.
a funny podcast because we make faces. We could be eating stuff and we'd be like, "Oh, this is not good."
Man, just
I'm
give
just
me
gonna leave.
just give me some grilled
That would be even good.
grilled.
That would be great.
Just grill me some
I don't trust
chicken or
everybody's
whatever.
food.
Nah, I'm good.
You better
I'm
bring,
good.
you better
I'm
bring
good.
it if we come to your kitchen.
Just
you gotta
spicy.
bring the
Just
food.
Word.
give me
We might
some
start doing that
turkey.
though in the spring. We might just start doing that for barbecue. So
What?
if y'all want to treat us to a barbecue,
I gotta grow.
Don't trust
I'm with
everybody's
it.
barbecue food either. That's a whole other thing.
Nah, I grow good, man.
All right, we'll see.
all right. So we're going to your
We'll
crib
see.
first.
All right, we'll
Alright,
see.
that's what's up.
All right, well, we can always talk food, sports, and everything.
For the giveaway.
Oh, yes. Before we go, I want to thank everybody who entered our giveaway contest. It really helped spark a lot of engagement with our content.
Yes.
It,
Keep it going,
It
please.
helped us go, and it allowed us to be able to help to continue to monetize our content on YouTube. So we're very grateful for everybody that entered the contest, and we did give it to our winner, got the code. We will have another one coming up soon.
Very soon.
That'll be centered around the second season of our show, The Sports Walk.
Yeah.
That'll be coming soon. So I know a lot of people, hey, if you haven't watched that, please watch it. It's been entered in a couple festivals now. Bryan is in the first season. Our producer, Matt, is scheduled to be in the second season.
Yup.
Should be fun.
So
I will be there
it should
for that.
It should be fun.
That would be fun.
Really, so just a huge thank you to everybody that supports our content. We have
Yes.
more stuff that'll be coming out with our content and more information about that. So
And more time to do it.
yeah, so we appreciate
That's
we
always the
appreciate
problem.
everybody done it. If you like it, please like the content,
Please.
share the content, wherever you are listening to it or how you are consuming it, rate it, like it, share it, promote it, and just continue to support us. We thank
Yeah.
you because without you, there is no us. Sounds really corny, but it is
Yeah,
damn
true.
true. It is
it's
damn
true. And, and we touched on this before, but we are all, especially now with literally March Madness going on, although it's not directly pertaining to college basketball for all of us, but we're obviously very busy, so we take the time out to do this. And we just want to thank you guys for supporting us so then we can continue to do these things moving forward. And we're going to have a freaking great spring. I almost cursed.
It's gonna be great. Share us on all social platforms. #AHTTPod so we can see you guys and we can answer back.
AHTT
Pod.
We're trying to get
hashtag is AHTTPod.
We're trying to get the discussion up. So
so just
curse us out. Do what you do.
With us. Let us know what you think. Laugh at us.
We got thick skin.
Laugh at Bryan for liking Freddie Gibbs too much.
Bryan.
Whatever it is you do, but that's it. Episode 21. It's a wrap for this episode. Not for the rest of us. Thank you for listening to the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. Peace.
You know what would be a crazy? You know what would be a crazy dinner table? If I went Freddie Gibbs, Vince Staples, Dan Levitard, and Colin Cowherd.
Just take note. Hashtag take note.